Hello guys, welcome to my channel Arrow Civil, and my name is Arundu Mukherjee, and today we will discuss about 25 question of strength of material, and this is the portion of daily quiz, and this is day 2. So let's start. The first question is, a material having the same property in all direction is called homologous, isotropic, homogeneous, elastic. Now let us see the definition of these four terminology. First, isotropic material. When the elastic properties of material are same in all direction, called isotropic material. Anisotropic material means when the elastic properties are different in all direction, called anisotropic material. Homogeneous material means it is the material having same elastic properties at every point. So you can find the difference between homogeneous and isotropic material. In case of homogeneous material, at every point the elastic properties are same, but in case of isotropic material, in a particular point in all direction the elastic properties are same. Okay, this is the difference between isotropic and homogeneous. Okay, for orthotropic material, it is the orthotropic material properties are different at a point in perpendicular direction. So in question they have asked a material having the same property in all direction. That means they have asked for a single point. In a single point in all direction the properties are same. So by definition we can say it is an isotropic material. Okay. Now in second question, a rod of length L and diameter D is subjected to a tensile load P. Which of the following is sufficient to calculate the resulting change in diameter? Options are Young's modulus, shear modulus, Poisson's ratio, both Young's modulus and shear modulus. So we know Young's modulus equal to stress by strain. Okay, stress is proportional to strain, so we can say stress equal to Young's modulus into strain. So from that we can say Young's modulus equal to stress by strain. Okay, here we have the term strain. Now this strain is linear strain, that means it is related to the length of the material. So from this strain value we cannot find the change in diameter. Next, second, in case of shear modulus, there is no direct relationship in between change in diameter. Okay, but in case of Poisson's ratio, or the mathematical representation is lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Okay, lateral strain means change in diameter by total diameter whole divided by longitudinal strain change in length by total length. So here from this term we can find the change in diameter. Now some of you can say that option C should be correct. Okay, but let I gave you the value of Poisson's ratio is 0.5. So from that you cannot find the change in diameter. In question they have told that length and D, that means length and diameter is given. Okay, in question it is told that length and the diameter is given. So you know capital L, capital D, okay, and you know the value of Poisson's ratio, but you don't know the value of change in length. For that reason you need to know the value of Young's modulus. Okay, because if you find the value of Young's modulus, from that you can find the change in length. Okay, so for that reason you can say if we know the value of Poisson's ratio and the value of Young's modulus, it should be easier for us to find the value of change in diameter, but in option it is not given. But if we know the value of Young's modulus and shear modulus as well, from this equation we can find the value of mu. If we know the value of Young's modulus and shear modulus, we can find the value of Poisson's ratio. From that we can find the change in diameter. because D and L is given in the question, and change in length you can find from Young's modulus, this term. Okay, so the option should be option D. Now the third question is, creep is the gradual increase of options: plastic strain with time at constant load, elastic strain with time at constant load, plastic strain with time at varying load, elastic strain with time at varying load. So from definition we can say creep is a permanent deformation which is recorded it with passes of time at constant loading. It is plastic deformation, permanent and non-recoverable in nature. So from definition we can say that the plastic deformation is happened in case of creep, and creep is a time dependent phenomena, and with constant load the value of creep is increases. So the from option we can say that the option A is the correct, plastic strain with time at constant load. Now in question 4, a material which follows Hooke's law is subjected to direct stress sigma at its elastic limit. Which of the following statement is true? Strain is equal to sigma by E. See, we know that modulus of elasticity is equal to stress by strain, and if we take the strain in the left hand side and elastic modulus in right hand side, so the strain should be equal to sigma by E. That is true, option A. Maximum shear stress is sigma by 2. This is also true. Strain energy is equal to sigma square by 2E into volume. That is called proof resilience. It is also true. So the option D will be correct option, that all options are correct. Now in question number 5, strain energy per unit volume is called. So if you see the options, the first one is resilience, then proof resilience, then bulk resilience, then none of these. In question, watch carefully, they have asked strain energy per unit volume. In this question you have seen that strain energy equal to sigma square by 2E into volume. Okay, so this is called the resilience. Sigma square by 2E into volume is called resilience, and the maximum resilience, the limit up to which the resilience is maximum is called proof resilience. So but in question they have asked per unit volume, that means sigma square by 2E, no volume is multiplied, so that resilience is called modulus of resilience. So you have seen strain energy per unit volume is called modulus of resilience, that means sigma square by 2E. So no options is given, so option D will be correct, none of this. Now question number 6, which one of the following is correct relationship between Young's modulus, modulus of rigidity, and bulk modulus in an elastic material? Let us see some formula. E is equal to 3k whole into 1 minus 2 mu, E is equal to 2g whole into 1 plus mu, E is equal to 9 kg by 3k plus g, mu is equal to 3k minus 2g by 6k plus 2g. Here k is the bulk modulus, g is the modulus of rigidity, mu is the Poisson's ratio. So they have asked from this relationship that E is equal to 9 kg whole divided by 3k plus g. So option should be option D. Okay. Now question number 7. Poisson's ratio is defined as the ratio of, we know the Poisson's ratio is the ratio of lateral strain by longitudinal strain, or transverse strain by axial strain. But in option it is written axial strain to transverse strain. It is completely opposite. Axial strain to shear strain, no. Shear strain to axial strain, no. So the option should be none of these. Okay, so the option should be none of these. Now question number 8, the property which permits a material to be drawn out longitudinally to reduce section is called. Okay, before solve this question, let us see the definition of this terminology. Ductility means It is the ability of material to deform under tensile stress. Okay, and malleability means a malleable material is one in which a thin sheet can be easily formed by hammering or rolling. आप लोग जिस भी क्वेश्चन में ये थिन शीट वाले टर्म देखेंगे, then the option should be malleability. But in question they have asked the property which permits a material to be drawn out longitudinally to reduce section is called. Okay, they can ask in this way that the material can be drawn into a thin wear, not thin sheet. If they have asked the material can be drawn in thin wear, then also the option should be ductility. In this question also option should be ductility. Malleability when the material can be drawn into thin sheet. Okay, but in case of ductility, material can be drawn into thin wear or material or the longitudinally reduction in section. Okay, so the option is ductility. Now Hooke's law holds good up to, see, Hooke's law valid up to proportionality limit, but here in these options there is no proportionality limit option, so the option should be elastic limit. Hooke's law is holds good up to elastic limit. Okay, Hooke's law defines the linear relationship between stress and strain within the elastic region. You can see the relationship between stress and strain. It can be used only if the material has linear elastic behavior. Okay, so the option is elastic limit. Now question number 10. Analysis procedure accepted Hooke's law as we have to tell in case of analysis of Hooke's law which kind of analysis we used: parabolic analysis, linear analysis, elliptical analysis, curved analysis. Later we will discuss the stress strain curve of a mild steel bar, then we will get to know these things very well. But we know that stress and strain relationship is linearly varied. Stress is linearly proportional to the strain. Okay, so Hooke's law is analysis procedure for Hooke's law is linear analysis. From that we can say analysis procedure is linear analysis. Hooke's law means a stress is directly proportional to the strain under elastic limit. Hooke's law is valid for homogeneous, isotropic and linearly elastic material. The analysis procedure accepting Hooke's law is known as linear analysis, and the design procedure for known as working stress method. Okay, linear analysis should be the option. Now the unit of stress in SI unit is Newton per meter square is the SI unit of stress. Stress means load per unit area. The unit of the load is Newton, the unit of the area is meter square. So from that we can say load per unit area equal to Newton per meter square. So the option is C. Now the ratio of shear stress to shear strain is known as ratio of shear stress to shear strain. In case of linear stress to linear strain, the ratio of linear stress to linear strain is called modulus of elasticity. In case of shear stress to shear strain, we can say it is modulus of rigidity. So the option B will be correct. Here shear stress is tau, shear strain is phi. So tau by phi is equal to G. G is called modulus of rigidity. Now question number 13. If the bulk modulus of a material is twice of its modulus of rigidity, then the Poisson's ratio of the material will be. So it is given that bulk modulus, that means K is equal to twice the modulus of rigidity. K is equal to 2G is given. So from relationship we can say 2G equal to 1 plus mu, that is E is equal to 2G whole into 1 plus mu. Again E is equal to 3K whole into 1 minus 2 mu. From those relationship we can say 2G whole into 1 plus mu equal to 3K whole into 1 minus 2 mu equal to E. that is modulus of elasticity. Now in question it is given that k is equal to 2g. If we put k equal to 2g and if we solve this question, we can find mu is equal to 2 by 7. So the option should be option B. Now question number 14. For the isotropic materials, the stress-strain relationship is known as. For isotropic material, the stress-strain relationship is known as Hooke's law. In previous question also we have discussed Hooke's law. In case of Hooke's law, the material should be isotropic, homogeneous and linearly elastic. Okay, so the option should be option B. Now Poisson's ratio of a perfectly plastic material is. Let us see. For the perfectly plastic material, the Poisson's ratio should be 0.5. Progressive deformation of a material at a slow rate for applied constant loading is called as. We have discussed this type of question earlier, that progressive deformation is happening, constant load is given, and it is also time dependent load. From these properties you can say what should be the option. Creep is the option, because creep is a time dependent phenomena and the constant load is given and the progressive deformation is happening. So from the previous knowledge we can say the creep is the option. Now question number 17. The property of a material by which it can be drawn into smaller section by application of tension is called. See, I am not giving you this question's answer. You have to tell me the answer in comment box. Just write down the question number and give the option, which option should be correct, A, B, C or D. Just write down question number 17 and what should be the option, A, B, C or D. And one thing, after completion of this lecture series, you just do one thing, write down how many questions you have solved by your own before I have given you the answer. So write down your marks also, that out of 25 what is your score. Okay. Now question number 18. Which one of the following property of material is ability to resist indentation or surface abrasion is called. मटेरियल का कौन सी प्रॉपर्टी है जो इंडेंटेशन और सरफेस एब्रेशन को रेजिस्ट करता है. So before choose the option, let us see the definition. Toughness. It is the ability of a material to absorb energy and plastically deform without fracturing. Okay, it is the ability of material to absorb energy. Okay, hardness means it is the property of a material by which it resists surface abrasion and indentation. In question they have asked that which property helps to resist surface abrasion and indentation, so the option should be hardness. Let us see the malleability. It is the property of a material due to which a piece of metal can be converted into thin sheet. I have told this thing earlier also. Okay, so the option should be hardness. Option is option C. Okay, so question number 19. Modulus of elasticity is defined as the ratio of linear stress by linear strain. So the option should be option B. Now question number 20. Within the elastic range of tensile stress, the deviation from Hooke's law and some after effect may be noticed. This is due to which of the following factors? The thermoelastic effect, the material does not obey Hooke's law, the yield stress is crossed, the elastic limit is greater than the ultimate strength. क्वेश्चन में क्या पूछा है कि इलास्टिक रेंज के बाद द डेविएशन फ्रॉम हुक्स लॉ, मतलब हुक्स लॉ फॉलो नहीं होता है किसी टाइम पे. व्हाट इज द रीजन फॉर दैट? हुक्स लॉ क्यों फॉलो नहीं होता है प्रॉपरली समटाइम्स. So let us see what is thermoelastic effect. It is the change in temperature of solid upon elastic or reversible deformation under adiabatic condition. When solid is under tension, the solid will be elongated to the direction of the uniaxial force. The force by convention is positive when it is tension. So ये बोला क्या है, within elastic limit, when the temperature changes, within elastic limit also the deformation may happen. This procedure this effect is called thermoelastic effect. Due to thermoelastic effect within elastic limit also Hooke's law ठीक से follow नहीं होता है. So the option should be option A. Now question number 21. Limit of proportionality depends upon type of loading, type of material, area of cross section, all of the above. So before that we let us see a stress strain relationship. Okay, from the stress strain relationship you can see that point A is called limit of or the point of proportionality limit. Okay, this is point A is called proportionality limit point. Okay, this is the graph for mild steel or the stress strain relationship of mild steel bar. But if we take another mild steel bar, the stress strain relationship should be same. So if we take the same material, the stress strain relationship should be same. So the limit of the proportionality should be same. But if we take high carbon steel bar, then the limit of proportionality would be different. In case of mild steel bar, what is the limit of proportionality, and in case of high carbon steel bar, the limit of proportionality would be different. Distance from origin will be different. So limit of proportionality is not depend on the type of loading. Limit of proportionality not depend on area of cross section. It is only depend on type of material. For the same type of material, the limit of proportionality is same, whether the area are different, but the limit of proportionality would be same, or the pattern of the graph should be same. Okay, so the option should be option B. Now question number 22. Modulus of elasticity for mild steel is approximately equal to, for modulus of elasticity for mild steel is 210 GPa. Okay, 210 GPa or 2.1 into 10 to the power 6 kg per centimeter square. So the option D is correct. Now question number 23. At yield point of a test piece, the material obeys Hooke's law, behaves in an elastic manner, regains its original shape on removal of the load, undergoes plastic deformation. Before solve this question, let us discuss about stress strain curve of a mild steel bar. So you have seen this chart or graph before, where the point A is proportionality limit. That is, up to A, stress is proportional to strain. O to A, this zone is straight line, and OA is linear elastic. Okay, from O to A the curve is linear elastic. Then point B is called elastic limit. Up to B material is elastic. A to B, from point A to B the graph is slightly curved. Okay, from O to A the graph is properly linear. From A to B slightly curved. Okay, AB is non-linear elastic zone. Okay, and Hooke's law doesn't valid in this zone. In this AB zone, Hooke's law is not valid. Loading beyond elastic limit cause permanent deformation or plastic deformation or residual strain in the material. मतलब B पॉइंट के बाद परमानेंट डिफॉर्मेशन शुरू हो जाता है. O to A is called proportionality zone or limit of proportionality. Okay, a point A is called limit of proportionality. OA is linear elastic zone. AB is non-linear elastic zone. B is elastic limit. After B, the permanent deformation will start. Point C is called upper yield point. At yield point, resistance of the material suddenly drop down. Due to resistance of the material suddenly drop down, the strain will increase, which occurs at a strain of 0.002 in the most of the material. Okay, this is called proof strain. CD is called yield zone. Okay, I am coming about D later. C is called upper yield point. At upper yield point, the resistance of the material suddenly drop down. So, in same loading, the strain or the change in dimension of the material will increase, because resistance by the material suddenly drop down, or the resistance becomes zero suddenly when then the change in length will suddenly increase, then that zone is called yield point zone. Okay, point D is called lower yield point. Point E is called strain hardening zone, or the starting of the strain hardening. Point E. DE, this portion is called plastic zone for permanent deformation zone. Okay, DE is called plastic zone for permanent deformation. In plastic zone, reorientation of molecules occurs. Due to this, material become nearly homogeneous and start resisting loading. So again, if we repeat from the first, A is called proportionality limit, OA is linearly elastic zone, B is called elastic limit, AB is non-linearly elastic zone where Hooke's law is not valid. Then C is called upper yield point, when the resistance by the material will suddenly drop down and the strain will increase. That means change in dimension will increase suddenly. D is called lower yield point, and E is called starting of strain hardening. That DE portion, that is called plastic zone, the material start to resist again. Okay, the material start to resist again at this DE zone. Okay, point F is called ultimate stress point. Okay, and the EF is called strain hardening zone, that is E to F. E is the start of strain hardening, F is the end of the strain hardening. EF is called strain hardening zone, F is called ultimate stress point, G is called fracture point. Now you can see the G1 point, and the G1 before above that it is written true stress curve. Why it is called true stress curve? Because when we are doing this test, when we are giving tension to a mild steel bar in universal testing machine, then the area of the bar is changing, because due to tension the area of the bar is changing from time to time with increase of loading. But we are not considering the change in area, we are considering the first area which is given. Okay, we are not considering the change in area, but if we consider the change in area, then the graph will be like dotted, this dotted portion. So that is called true stress curve, but we are not considering the true area, we are considering the original area, so the graph is coming down, and G is called fracture point. Now in question they have asked, at yield point of a test piece, the material yield point, at yield point suddenly resistance become low and the strain will increase. Okay, so obeys Hooke's law. This is not true. Hooke's law obeys in case of proportionality limit, behaves in an elastic manner. This is also not true, because in case of elastic, if the material behave elastic manner within the elastic limit, regain its original shape on removal of the load, That is the also property of elasticity. So it is also in case of elastic limit undergoes plastic deformation. This is true. Undergoes plastic deformation at yield point because the resistance will suddenly drop down, and after elastic limit the plastic deformation will start. So when the resistance will drop down, the change in dimension take place and the plastic deformation take place. Okay, so the option should be option D. Now question number 24. The shape of the stress strain curve of a non-linear elastic material within the elastic limit is. Now, from the above discussion, I have already told you non-linear elastic material. What is the non-linear elastic zone actually? That the elastic limit is called non-linear elastic zone. That this AB portion is called non-linear elastic zone. Okay. So in that zone, how the curve is varying? Curve is increasing but not in a straight line manner, because I have already told you this AB zone is non-linear elastic zone because a certain amount of a slightly curved is present. Okay, so the option should not be a straight line. So the option should be monolithically or monotonically increasing curve, because it is gradually increasing and there should be a slightly curve in this portion, non-linear elastic zone. So the option should be option A. Now question number 25. A mild steel specimen is tested under tension and a continuous graph between load and extension is obtained. In load at which there is considerable extension without increase in resistance is called. From the last line you can give the answer. In load at which there is considerable extension without increase in resistance. So resistance will not increase, or the resistance will drop down, and in increase in load the extension will increase, or the strain will increase, or the change in dimension will increase. From this last portion of the question you can give the answer where this kind of phenomena will happen. In case of upper yield point, in case of upper yield point, the suddenly resistance will drop down and the change in dimension happen. So the option should be option D. So thank you. Please follow in my channel in YouTube and Telegram, and please like, share and subscribe. So much amount of hard work is needed for this kind of PPT making purpose. So I am requesting you to please subscribe this channel and press the bell icon and press all option so that you can get any notification when I am uploading something, and you can follow me on Telegram for regular update. Thank you.